We are back at it again with another episode of Recruiters React. For those who are new here, welcome. Recruiters React is a little podcast we have here at Randstad that covers about topics, professional topics or career topics that you are curious about. I am especially excited for today's episode because we are actually going to talk about one of the hottest topics in the market right now, which is job hopping. And we are joined by our two darling recruiters, Mr. Ben Neo and Miss Michelle Tan. Could the both of you give a quick introduction of yourselves to our viewers?
Hi, I'm Ben. I recruit within the project management space within our enterprise tech team.
And hi, I'm Michelle. I specialize in financial service and language hiring under the accounting and finance team.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. So, a recent study based on our report is that there is an average tenure of 1.1 years for Gen Zs to stay in the company. And it is to be found quite out of norm because it's contradictory to what millennials or baby boomers that are used to. Why is job hopping the trend now? Is it like normal in the industry in general?
I would say it's considered normal.
It's considered normal.
Yeah, it's considered normal. So if we talk about typically like finance shared service, in finance shared service, yes, it's typically. But if you talk about commercial finance, then it's not.
Okay.
We talk about commercial finance is different. They were typically looking at someone that's not like 1 to 1.5 years. They're looking for someone at least 3 years and above.
Okay.
Yes, with the company. But in financial services, like I mentioned, it's more over towards like growing the shared service center. What are the service that they're bringing in? Who are the clients that they're serving? So this is the part where there's a lot of challenges and different things. Like we talk about AI automations coming into the pictures, right? Gen Z would typically to go in to challenge themselves for that part, right? Rather than they just sit there, do nothing, or when the process is done, they just like manually process. What's next for them? They don't see themselves growing that way. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing here is that they want a more dynamic, diverse job scope.
Can say so.
But other than that, what are other reasons that you have found for people that are job hopping these days?
Monetary definitely is one of the
Monetary, yeah. So if let's say top three, one is job scope, two is monetary, what would the third be?
Culture.
Culture.
If in financial service center, for a candidate to also stay in a company long enough, right, it's also the culture of the company. Let's say it's not too political, you have the flexibility, they will actually be very loyal to actually stay there for, we talk about more than 5 years.
Is that the same for technology?
Yeah, it can roughly apply. From my field, it works within, even let's say within your commercial companies for your tech divisions, or let's say if you're more within your software vendors. I think for a lot of your software vendors, you usually see people that are going from maybe 1 or 2 years and then going into the next because typically speaking, the pace is a lot faster because you get a lot more projects to run and you get a lot of experience under your tool belt. And from that, they eventually move into more of like your in-house companies where they will maybe stay a little bit longer. On top of that, let's say if we were to say our top three, benefits are something that a lot of tech candidates usually look for.
Okay.
So we talk about, let's say if you're developers, work arrangements are always going to be a very big consideration. On top of that, what other benefits do I have? Then monetary can usually be next. It can usually be, if the benefits are good, the monetary can be quite negotiable. On the third side, you can, it's usually a tie between culture and then also progression. How much are they able to learn? So bringing it back to the whole software vendor aspect, if you are a software house and you have a lot of projects in, for a project manager, that's going to be very interesting because you get all these different clients to try out, you get all these different experiences to go for. And then let's say when it slims down, you're maybe doing just like 1 or 2 small projects for the year. Then the rest of the time, maybe you don't get too much work. Then for them, they may say like, look, I love the company, I love the people, but it's time for me to grow too, right?
Yeah.
Just loyalty stands if it comes in the way of, let's say, my own growth. Sometimes candidates will want to make that leap.
It really depends on the perspective from both sides.
Okay.
If you ask me, like we talk about employee point of perspective. I mean, when we asked them, they really came up with different answer. Maybe, for example, like Ben was saying that benefits came priority as a priority than the monetary. But in my candidate point of view, sometimes when the pay better, they don't see it.
Or they don't really put it as the priority.
No, they put it as a monetary because they mentioned one point which is quite valid for me is they have a family that monthly expenses that they are looking at is benefit that cannot cover. Right. So monetary is definitely the priority. If they get lesser benefit, it's still okay. As long the money they got it in, they can cover monthly for their household, that is good enough.
So if I understand correctly, job hopping is a norm. It's already embraced by the generation today. But should it be encouraged?
So for candidates who stay, let's say we talk about 5, 6, 7 years, can be a good, can be a bad. Good in terms of like you see that loyalty. Downside would be more of like you don't really explore different industry. You don't put yourself out there to learn the flexibility, the adaptability. If let's say after 7 years you join a new company, to be honest, you may not adapt to it, to a new culture. I have seen or I've talked to candidates who, let's say, talk about 10 years in the old company, and this is where he decided to come out to learn or to look what are the things that he could learn in different industry. But when he joined culture shock,
because he has to start from scratch in a way.
Yes, and he need to start to manage the stakeholders as well because different stakeholders, different characters. Right? So this is where after a few months he decided to leave and go back to the old company. So it really depends on how you look into it. Some may take it like it's a very jumpy. Some may take it as you don't learn.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback on top of that too, learning is definitely a great point, and I like the idea of looking at both perspectives here. So from an employee standpoint, why are people jumping from year to year to different companies? And then also from an employer standpoint, you as the owner of a company, how do you view that within within your company? Do you find that alarming, or do you find that as a way, or maybe it's time to reflect what is going well with the company, what is not going well with the company, what can we change with the company too? If let's say you're a very successful company, you give a lot of good benefits, and you're paying all your candidates within above job market, and yet you still find that people are moving out of your company, I'm sure it can get really frustrating for an employer and say, look, I'm giving everything you're asking for. Why is this still happening? So I can still empathize with a lot of clients, who present to me the same thing, and they say, you know, should we still give all these benefits? If people are still gonna jump to a different company, is it something that we're doing wrong? And that's really when you have to get the really micro level, get to talk to all your candidates, really know what's going on with their struggles. I like how Michelle brought up the point with family earlier. Let's say if it is something related to family and they just need a purely monetary standpoint, and they need to be able to support, or there are different changes in their life. Maybe they need to move to a different house. Let's say they bought a new house, they need to be located somewhere different. Then it's just no choice. We have to make a move. So I think it's very quick to assume that maybe if they do move, it's usually regarded that, well, it's for a bad reason. But bringing it back to the first point, did we actually get to sit down and get to know what's the real reason? Is it really something that's valid? And where can both the employer and the employee learn from these kind of shifts and changes?
But from what I see, right, when it comes to job hopping, right, there's always two types of job hoppers. There's one where they call it the strategic planner, so they plan specifically when to leave, because according to them, 1 year is already enough for them to learn. They're very fast-paced people. It's like 1 year, done. And the other is what they call it the free-spirited wanderer. Where one is more of a logic versus emotional kind of dynamic. So let's cover the strategic planner first, where people they're more strategized, they have more clear-cut plans when it comes to their career. And I noticed with this group of people, right, they actually treat their first few jobs as a way to fast track their career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so some stay for 1 year, some even stay for 6 months. They're like, okay, done, let's make a move. That's how they climb the ladder, number one, and that's how they get, as to what Michelle said, monetary increment. Have you been seeing this pattern in your years of recruiting?
I mean, I feel like this part isn't really too new. I think even within every generation, there are going to be strategic planners.
Yeah.
If you can jumpstart your career and get a higher salary, a lot of people may think, why not?
Yeah.
So usually, what do they say when they have these kind of plans? What's the reasoning behind this strategic plan of them?
I would say that one of the point is they are young,
Okay.
right? So this is the opportunity for them to actually jump around, learn different things, climb to the certain stage, and be comfortable in one company. I mean, I do came across candidates who every year or every 1.5 years they start jumping. Firstly is, like I mentioned, the job scope wise, the challenges, newly set up, you see different stakeholders, you see different challenges. And as you jump, I think your knowledge will also increase because you're going to face different challenges, that's for sure. But again, it's like that's their plan, 1.5, 1.5, and then like you mentioned, salary is definitely increased every 20%. Let's say we talk about that minimum, right? And until the point they found the best company for them to stay, this is where they will show the loyalty. They will stay like maybe for the good 10 years until they get promoted to become a senior manager, and a good benefits, best of both worlds, salary, positions, and then benefit. And this is where they decide to stay on until they retire.
Do you agree one can turn to the other, where a strategic planner can end up being a free-spirited wanderer, or vice versa? A free-spirited wanderer can be a strategic planner.
Certain candidate, when they try it out, right, besides we talk about monetaries, they may also want to find the culture, the job scope, the people that they are working with, right? At the end of the day, can they match with these managers, the chemistry wise? When you have people who plan, or we have people that's, you mentioned the free spirited wandering one, they may also in middle have a plan change. Maybe due to family, right? Or due to our economic. It really depends how you look into that perspective, right? So certain people may be still wondering what they want to do, but some people like the planning strategy, jumpers, right, under the hoppers. I mean, it really depends what they're looking for at the end of the day. Like, if you ask me, I would say that definitely it's more of the learning curve, the culture fit, as well as if they can grow faster than other people as well.
Is it entirely possible for any candidate to do this? I think it's definitely possible.
Okay.
Because who knows within a year down the road or 2 years down the road, what can change in your life, and what exactly is important to you can change too. Or let's say if you just get approached by a company that you didn't expect and they're amazing, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, you have to jump on it now. That already turned out from more like a free spirited thinker because it just came out of nowhere and they just decided to try it out. I've had candidates who tell me the same thing before. They tell me they never thought this would happen. It's a very great opportunity. But maybe they were just 2-3 months within the company and said, look, I know it's going to look bad, but if I don't take up this opportunity, I might end up regretting this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, some things really just don't go to plan, no
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
no matter how much you try to plan it.
Yes.
When it comes to hiring managers' point of view, and when they do come across these kind of job hoppers, right, would their first instinct be, understanding what's the backstory of this, what's their thought process, or would they are so numb to it, they're so used to it, they're like, okay lah, just hire lah.
I specialize on language and financial service, right? When we talk about normal language hiring, yes, hiring manager would tend to understand, right? But when it comes to language, that is something that I think they will, but they also know how the market runs. I have two types of candidates, in fact, in language industry. It's either the one that's super jumpy, every 6 months to 1 year they will jump, or those who really stay put within the company, you knock their doors, I think for good 2 years, they will still not open to look up. I think hiring manager, basically, they already know but they will still, like why, what's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, jumping onto that point too, within project management, talking about character too, because let's say from a hiring manager perspective, if I'm hiring you to manage my project, I think for people within my desk in my field, hiring really is a very personality based kind of interview. Because yes, there are your technical skill sets, how well you manage a project, what certificates you have, but also at the end of the day, it's knowing how well can I get along with you, how well can I trust you to manage your project. Because let's say within tech field, if I am going to entrust you with like a multi-million-dollar project, can I also ensure that you're going to stay within the duration to complete the project? Can I trust that we're going to get along for the whole length of the project too? So there are a lot of risks and a lot of variables that come with that too. So I can understand why clients will be maybe a bit more hesitant if they see someone maybe a bit more on the jumpy side. Then they may cause some alarms and think, okay, if I do bring you in this company, I really hope, because it's a 3 year project, I really hope that you can save the 3 years. It's not going to be to the point where I'm going to force you, but I need to know that what reasoning can you give me to tell me that this time it will be different? And that's when you kind of create a two-way conversation.
Yep.
Of if if you're really just looking for something like a 1 year and out kind of situation, unfortunately, that's probably not going to be what the client is looking for. And from a candidate standpoint, you also have to be okay with that, because this is also a gamble that you're taking. Let's say that if I'm just going to keep jumping, you gotta expect some clients are just not going to be okay with that, and that's okay.
I mean, with the big generational shift right now going on where millennials are becoming managers, no longer the junior subordinates, right? I think they can relate better, especially to the newer generation when it comes to job hopping in particular. I would say they have adopted more of a forgiving attitude. What I like about working with millennials, they always see things from both ends. There are pros and cons to staying loyal, but there are also pros and cons to job hopping. How would you advise your clients to attract these kind of candidates to pick them?
Technical
Technical,
and
as
characteristics.
to be more negotiable on the technical side?
More negotiable on the technical side, and looking at the characteristics of it.
Okay.
Yeah, a person that's open to learn, again humble.
Yeah.
You able to, let's say, adapt to the culture, the environments, be more flexible. This is the kind of candidates that the hiring manager will wish to look into. I would say in financial service, we are very, very much niche in all the functions, right? So to find a one perfect person to do all the job or end to end, say like 1 out of 10, right? And to be honest, hiring manager is always looking for that one. This is where you need to negotiate with the hiring manager. What is non-negotiable? What is the one that you can negotiate? I'm sure they have been through the market research. They know what they want. So this is where they will actually open up. Okay, what are the priority and what are the best to have?
Yeah, the negotiables and the non-negotiables.
Yes.
All right, but that's a contrast then with technology, because yours is more focused on people with technical skills specifically, whereas your industry focus on hiring more people that based on personality.
Of course, personality matters at the end of the day. If you're going to be talking to a person every day, I hope you guys get along and gel well together.
But with that, how would you advise your clients then?
When it comes down to more of a personality stake, I also kind of follow a same method where you just need to be able to verbally explain it to them that, look, if we are in a situation here where it's either this candidate or no other candidate and you've exhausted all resources, are you okay if you don't pick this candidate, then there are no resources left for you? Then you may need to wait for a very long time before another candidate comes up. And the thing to understand about that is it's not necessarily saying that you have to take this, but it's also giving them the perspective that market isn't a like a plug and play. It isn't like a what is it like those Build-A-Bear workshops where you create everything that you want for you. I want this attributes with that, and then mix all together. You know, it's like you said, it's like the unicorn candidate, but we can't make the candidate we want, but we see what the candidate that we have.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, which leads me to my next question.
Next question.
This is, I would say, one of the most popular questions that
Oh,
there is.
no.
It's the golden question.
Golden question. All right,
Golden
I'm ready for
question.
this. All ears.
My first question, when it comes to interview tips, are how does usually hiring managers phrase the question instead of saying, "Why you job hop so much?"
I think basically my hiring manager, they won't really directly ask, but they would just say that maybe you can walk me through a little bit of your career background of your each company, as well as your reason for leaving.
As in like they'll go with each company. Oh
Yes.
wow.
Yes. They will want to know like each company, what you have done, the projects, what you have learned from that. And
Okay.
yeah, so what's your reason for leaving? What makes you actually jump to the company?
Alright.
Yeah.
So it's not like a one-off question, it's like a step by step, one by one.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it a bit weird to say that I think that my clients do ask quite straight to the point. Because I've sat in a few interviews for my clients too, and they will ask, why did you leave your company? Or this tenure was a bit short. Can you explain why you left the company? From a candidate standpoint, if it's not a reason that you are shameful for, then there's nothing to hide to. So I think a lot of people, at least candidates that I work with, they like being straight to the point.
Yep.
And they appreciate the transparency too. So if that's like your main concern, just tell me your main concern and it's fine. So in a way, you can phrase it in a very corporate lingo way, and people may prefer that. And I can also find why people will just prefer to be straightforward.
Yeah, some of them just like to cut to the chase.
Just cut to the chase. Just tell me what's going on. Why?
Then let me flip the question then. How should candidates answer that question?
Normally, I would tell my candidate to be more professional, not to be like very straightforward with your answer. It really depends again. How's your reason for leaving? How we put it that way, right? Some people can say that I just want money.
Yeah, I do. I have come across those kind of candidates where honesty is really the best policy. They really cut to the chase.
Yeah.
And they have that kind of attitude where, oh, you take it or leave it, you want me, you don't want me, you do.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the attitude, you know. Yeah, how you talk, how you kind of share it to your recruiter and also to the hiring managers, right? Sometimes overly ego, overly confidence is not a very good thing as well. Right? Transparent, straight cut is good, right? But to be honest, a lot of my hiring manager doesn't really like it. They find it straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah. So if let's say you share it overly straight, they'll find it that so there's typically just no meaning for you to leave, you know. So if you just want monetary, any company can just give you that monetary, right? But if you come to my organization for let's say good 6 months and another company decide to hire you and this is where you decide to jump. So if you put it that way, a hiring manager will definitely have concerns.
That kind of candidates, right? That would be considered the unicorn or the golden candidate in your industry, no?
And I have seen candidates who are like that, who because their skills are so niche, 2 months into into their new company, another company will approach them and ask, and they said, "Hey, I just joined this company, but if you want me 30%, and they will pay." So it's definitely a case by case scenario, and that's why it's hard to put like a blanket statement over this. Being a recruiter really helps the whole kind of employment journey. Is that we can give you those insights, or at least I feel like I'm really happy when I am able to have a call to prep my candidates and I can tell them like, hey, this is who you'll be interviewing with. This person is a very straightforward person. They already know that they already saw your profile. They already know that you've moved on for this reason. So when they ask you, don't try to beat around the bush with it. Don't try to give like a 20-minute response where you talk about like your childhood and upbringing and your star sign, all that. Just say your reason and then tell them. Ultimately, always bring it back to the point of why you want to join a company. I find, at least for all companies, you will. It always helps to tie it back to why you want to join the company. What about the company interests you, and then that will always be fine.
Some candidates they actually have good reasonings as to why they job hop, but they find difficulty in trying to explain. So some of them just go straight to the cut, which might rub off certain hiring managers in the wrong way. So sometimes it's really more of a how to communicate kind of thing.
But it's also like what Ben said, it really depends on the hiring manager's characteristics. Some hiring managers like straight cut, some managers doesn't. Right?
But back to the topic of job hopping, where it's kind of normal to say where your candidates' tenures are between a range of 1 to 1.5 years, right? Does this mean there is an increase in contract roles in your industries?
There is candidates who prefer
Contracts, yes.
Yes, because again, it's about learning, exploring different industry, right? As well as the freedom. Some candidates look at different perspective. I joined 1 year, every year, different company, to see how's my skill set is, how's the industry wise, how can I adapt towards it. Some take it like it's a freedom because I don't tie it down to that company. Once I'm done with 1 year contract, I can take my time. I can search for the job that I like or the company that I like to join. Right. So it really depends on how you look into it.
And what about your industry? Is a contract rule normal?
Contract role is actually quite normal, yeah. I would say there has been more contract roles in the previous years than there's been now, since security and stability is definitely something a lot of project managers really are starting to care about. But you will still have a lot of people who prefer contracts, and a lot of that has to also do with the learning curve. If you talk about monetary wise, some of them they like the idea of going for contract roles because they sometimes they can ask for a higher salary since it's, let's say, a 1 year contract. From an employer standpoint, they may know attracting candidates within normal market salary ranges is going to be a bit tougher because for general Malaysian population, if you're going to attract someone from a permanent position to join your contract role, sometimes you might have to offer a higher salary.
Yeah.
So those are some of the reasons they may join. Other than that, having the freedom, who knows, maybe they have different like side businesses that they're more interested in doing. Project managers, they like to keep themselves busy. So they'll always have these different things going on, and for them, they like it. They prefer it that way. So in my field, yeah, contract is definitely something that I see a lot, and I don't really think that'll change.
Yeah. So we're also seeing, like as I mentioned, a fascinating trend about boomerang hires. They plan to work in company A for, let's say, 2 years. Then they leave company A to join company B for maybe 1 year, and then go back to company A to stick with them for life or for till retirement. Okay, for life is a
Just
bit
keep going
extreme.
back and forth.
Yeah, that's what they call it, the boomerang hire these days. Yeah. So wait, go out and then they come back. So based on your observation, why would someone return to the company after they quit?
I would say it's the culture.
Yep.
And the person that you work with. It's the chemistry.
So it's a culture fit and a boss fit.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say it's if they go to a company and return back to the company, the candidates that I've spoken to, definitely the boss, if they find out that they just really like this boss. Or it comes down to growth too, because going back to, I think, a previous example, I said that if there are just no more projects that your company has, but you really like the company, no choice, they still want to keep learning, and then they go into another company. And let's say if things in the previous company start picking up again, and maybe in your new company, you just don't really like the culture that much, or you feel like it isn't the exact match for you, and your boss reaches out to you again and say, hey, you want to come back? Then some of them will make that move and go back again.
So boomerang hires are actually well received, like in both of your industries.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times, and yeah, so long as it's like in a way, a mutual agreement where the company does see the value in you and they want you back as a candidate, then yeah, it definitely can happen.
So does this mean companies should keep in touch with their employees that have already left?
I would say why not?
Why not lah?
Why not? I mean, employee or hiring manager perspective is this is a good candidate. Why not, right? If you went out you have more potential to learn, you bring the skill set back to the company and expand it or implement it to be a better, I would say, progression. Why not, right? And employer perspective is they'll be proud, right? They are still being remembered by their hiring manager. It means that they have done a very great job, and to keep that relationship is never easy though.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very difficult to keep that relationship, especially if you are a very big company and there are a lot of different people. I don't know who's going to be want to keep in contact with you. Who knows? Maybe it's just your direct manager, but what if your direct manager doesn't have the power to, hire you back again, and you have to go through a lot of different levels. So it's very difficult to sort of promise that as a direct rule that we should embrace. But I like Michelle's point to say that uh, why not keep in touch, whether or not it worked out or if it didn't. If you find value in the person, then it should then evolve to a personal level where I should just connect with you because I respect you as a person and I think you do a great job. Maybe you can be friends too. We'll play pickleball together. I don't know.
Okay. So, any last words to the job hoppers or for companies that are hiring job hoppers?
Job hoppers may not be that bad actually. They do bring values to the organization, right? I mean, looking at their knowledge, in different companies, different skill sets, they may bring good progressions or improvements to your company. Or even we talk about different perspective, different view, how they look into the different companies that they have joined. And this is where they may also share their thoughts to the company so that they can make a lot of changes and try to adapt to what the younger generation think.
Yeah. I think it just all comes down to having a call to action that we all need to get curious and be more comfortable asking questions, and then from a receiving standpoint, be more comfortable answering questions. Because I think when it comes to job hopping, there will always be answers that a client may or may not prefer, and that's just something you're gonna have to be okay with. But the most important thing is how are you able to have those conversations? Are you okay to talk about it? And as long as you establish that kind of communication, then I think we are coming to a stage where it's no longer different age groups. It's now just to a point where we can really try to understand each other, and it won't really be a conversation of job hopping, but it's more a conversation of do your motivations match mine, and can we really work together?
All right. That is Ben and Michelle from Randstad. If you have any comments or any questions, feel free to let us know. Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.